She was young, unmarried, a simple girl from a humble town. Not the kind you would expect to change the course of history or rewrite destiny. But heaven never sought perfection or privilege. It sought obedience and faith. When the angel appeared, there was no grand fanfare or earthly applause, just a quiet invitation to say yes to something vast, unknown, and far beyond her comprehension. Imagine the weight of that moment, the shock, the fear, the uncertainty. Yet, amidst it all, a calm surrender. Mary didn't ask to be chosen, but when she was, she embraced the unknown with courage that defies explanation. What does it mean to say yes to a calling that could cost you everything? Your reputation, your safety, your entire future. This is a story of faith so deep, it moved the heavens and reshaped the world. The journey began not with a plan, but with a simple, humble response. Let it be unto me according to your word. Those words echoed through time, a declaration that faith does not wait for clarity or certainty. It thrives in the darkness, in the unanswered questions, and in the brave acceptance of what we cannot yet see. As you listen, imagine yourself standing where she stood, at the crossroads of fear and faith, tradition and transformation. This story is for anyone who has ever faced the unknown and chosen to step forward anyway. Because sometimes the greatest acts of courage aren't about knowing the way, but about trusting the one who does. Mary's story is not just about a miraculous conception or a divine mission. It is about the radical faith required when you don't have the map, the resources, or the approval of the world around you. She didn't ask for signs or guarantees. When the angel Gabriel told her she would bear the Son of God, Mary's first response was not panic, but a simple question. How will this be, since I am a virgin? She did not ask to avoid the responsibility, but to understand what faith in action truly meant. Picture a young woman in a modest home, clutching the words, "Let it be unto me," unfolding in her heart like an ancient scroll. She had no social standing to protect, no wealth to lean on, and certainly no plans that included a pregnancy outside of marriage. Yet she did not waver. Mary's faith was a quiet, steady flame. It didn't shout or boast, but whispered obedience. The weight of her yes was immense. It meant facing rumors, scorn, and isolation. Yet, despite every risk, she chose trust over fear. In a world ruled by rigid laws and harsh judgments, Mary's yes was revolutionary. It challenged societal norms and redefined what it meant to be faithful. Her assignment was not just to carry a child, but to carry a promise, a hope that would change everything. She embraced the unknown because she believed in a God who holds the future, even when the present looks uncertain. This is a call to all who hesitate because of the unknown. Faith is not about having all the answers. It's about walking forward when the path is hidden. Saying yes to her divine calling was far from easy. It wasn't just a word spoken in a quiet room. It was a commitment that carried immense weight and unimaginable consequences. Mary stepped into a world that was not kind to those who broke its social rules, especially young women who found themselves pregnant outside of marriage. The whispers in the village, the skeptical stares from neighbors, and the harsh judgments from religious leaders all threatened to crush her spirit. Yet, despite every risk and every hardship, Mary carried her burden with remarkable grace and steadfast faith. Imagine her walking the dusty, narrow streets of Nazareth, a young woman with a secret far greater than anyone could imagine, yet exposed to the harsh light of scrutiny. The people she passed may have seen only a girl with an unusual condition, but beneath the surface was a heart burning with quiet resolve. The phrase, highly favored, was not merely an angelic greeting. It was the divine empowerment that sustained her amidst the loneliness and fear. This favor was not a shield from hardship, but a source of strength to endure it. Mary's yes required her to embrace the paradox of being chosen, yet misunderstood. To carry the Savior of the world meant to carry the burden of suspicion and alienation. The man she was betrothed to, Joseph, grappled with disbelief and confusion. Yet even he was called to faith. Together, they navigated a path fraught with uncertainty, trusting in a promise that seemed impossible to grasp. Mary's courage lay in her willingness to be vulnerable, to bear the shame society might cast on her, and to believe that God's plan was greater than any earthly judgment. And then came the moment that changed everything: the birth of Jesus. The Son of God, laid in a manger, born into humble surroundings, far from the grandeur one might expect for a king. This birth was a divine contradiction. God made flesh in the form of a fragile infant. Mary was not only a mother, but a vessel of hope for all humanity. She held the light of the world in her arms, a living miracle that defied logic and reason. Her journey did not end with the birth. Mary nurtured him, taught him, and stood by him as he grew into the man who would fulfill his mission. She watched as he healed the sick, comforted the broken, and challenged the powerful. But she also witnessed his suffering, the rejection, and ultimately, the crucifixion. The depth of her strength was revealed not just in the joyous moments, but in the pain and sacrifice she endured alongside him. Mary's story reminds us that true greatness often comes wrapped in humility and hardship. It is a strength not celebrated by the world, but honored by heaven. The kind of strength that quietly changes the course of history, not with a roar, but with a faithful yes. Her life was a testimony to the power of obedience, trust, and the unwavering belief that God's purposes are worth every trial. Today, Mary's legacy challenges us to face our own moments of uncertainty with courage, to say yes when the future is unclear, to walk in faith even when the path is steep, and to embrace the divine assignments placed upon us, no matter how daunting. Her yes was not just a moment in history. It is an invitation for us to believe that with faith, we too can carry light into the darkest places, birth hope amidst despair, and live with purpose beyond our understanding. Your greatest moment may come when you feel least prepared, when the road ahead is unclear and the world questions your choice. But like Mary, you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to believe in the one who called you. Faith doesn't demand perfection or readiness. It only asks for willingness. The willingness to say yes, to trust, and to walk boldly forward. As you reflect on Mary's story, remember that your yes can shift history. It can bring light into dark places, hope into despair, and purpose into chaos. You don't have to know how the journey will unfold. You just need to believe who is guiding you. This is the essence of Crowned and Called. Stories of purpose, women of power, who embraced their calling despite the unknown. Subscribe now to Crowned and Called and join us as we continue to share stories that inspire faith, courage, and transformation. Because your story, just like Mary's, has the power to change the world.